Welcome back once more again at Boss Babes Healing, where we are loving on each other by healing and doing it all through the Word of God and putting Him first. I thank you for joining me again. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with your girl, getting these gems so that we are spiritually growing together. We are growing together in business and in our homes, in our lives. And why not do that together? Why do that divided? Why do that by yourself? When you have to carry the weight, when you have your sister in Christ or your brother who can help you get through what it is God has given you to steward. Amen. And so on this week's episode, we will be talking about you versus you. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back again. I do appreciate you for being here. I do not take it lightly that you are visiting the channel, that you are stopping by once more, that you are coming by once again to see what your girl is up to, what's going on, what's on the heart of God, because that's really why we're all here, is to get that message that God is giving us so that we can be strengthened for the journey and know that we are not alone in what it is we're going through. Is the whole point of why we meet up every week, sometimes every other week, why we're here with a prayer, why we're here with a message, why we're here with whatever it is God is saying He wants us to address. And on this week, we are talking about us versus us. This episode is for those who are not jealous. This episode is for those who don't compare themselves to other people. It happens. It happens. This episode is for those who don't look at someone's life now and think that they didn't actually have a journey and feel some type of way at what they see now without realizing that that person may or may not have had to go through a hell to get there. That's who this message is for. So this is a graduation message. Someone who has gotten to the place where I actually know that it's me versus me. I actually know that it's about me getting to the next level, the next step, the next place in my spiritual journey, my healing journey, my financial journey, my business journey, my home life journey, whatever your journey is, whatever that looks like for you. Let's elevate together. Let's grow together. Let's eliminate whatever those pieces of the puzzle are that don't fit, that are not working, that God is not saying, take that for this journey. Because we have to realize and be aware that this isn't that. Now is not then. We can't use the same tools now as we did when we were children. We can't use the same tools that we used when we were of the world, when we didn't know what it is God was calling us to. When we just plain and simple didn't know. So this message is for those who understand what God has called you to, where God is saying, I need you to take action here. I need you to put that down and pick this up. And so you versus you ultimately means that you are going to elevate in this season. You are going to graduate in this season from one place to another, whether that be home ownership, whether that be a marriage, whether that be starting the business or picking it back up, whether that be stepping up your prayer life, increasing in fasting and growing in the things of God and spiritually becoming a resource for others, right? So at the end of this video, I want you to leave with some tools and some new mindsets that you are not only going to elevate, that you are going to become one with the ascension that God wants you to be in. God wants you to be able to ascend to new higher heights and levels and to be able to get there with ease. You're at a level where you're becoming a resource for others. You're at a level where you can now put down a comparison. You can now put down looking at one's life and wondering why you're not there. You know why. It's because it's you versus you. You know that that journey that you're looking at, from the post that you're looking at of that woman who seems to be winning for an aesthetic, she's not winning. And you pray that she does, absolutely. But the car that was rented, the dress that still has a tag on the back that will be returned, the man that she's leaning on is her family member. You can now look at something and realize that that's not God's plan for me, and I need to tap into the plan that he does have for me. You're now at the stage where you're realizing that I know who I am. There is a crown that's on my head, and no one gets to adjust it or shift it or take it off. It's not something that is detachable. It's attached to me permanently. This crown might as well be called my DNA, because that's how much it is a part of me. And so you're at a level where you know that you've grown in God, that you may have had to get it out of the mud, that you may have had to suffer a few things, and you may have had to face a few of those hard times, and tragedy has come to you because it made you stronger. You are in a space where you know that you're it. You were chosen to break the generational curses. You were chosen to be the one who becomes a resource for your community. You were chosen to be the one who frees the women. You were chosen to be the resource that they come to when they need something. Because God is giving you the balance, the discernment, and the provision, the privacy, and the protection that you need to be that resource, and for this season, for such a time as this. That's the one that I'm talking to, you versus you. You versus you doesn't mean that you're battling yourself. That's not a you versus you. That's a stronghold. That's a demon. That's a battle within you that you have to fight that out in prayer. That you have to fight that out with God. That you have to get in the mirror and say, and have a little mirror time. You know how babies have belly time? Some of us need to get in the mirror and have mirror time. It's the same thing. A baby is crawling on his belly, and when you're still crawling in a spiritual season where you're not eating meat yet, you need a mirror time where you're telling yourself who you are, whether you believe it or not. That you're telling yourself where you're going, and you may not believe what you just said, but it's mirror time. I need to stop hitting my head against this wall. I need to leave him or her alone. I need to put that drink down. I need to get out of that bed with this man. I need to focus in on my schoolwork. I need to go back to school. That's mirror time. And so I dare you to do that. Get in the mirror and let yourself know, your inner self, that girl who is it in there. No, you're beautiful. You're it. It's your time. It's your season. You can't be stopped. It doesn't matter if you feel surrounded. Guess who they're surrounded by? And guess who outweighs who? Guess who's seen it all? Guess who recorded it all? Guess who got it all written down? Guess who gets to move and who don't? And so we are developing not just our posture, we are developing our mind space, our what it is we will or won't accept, what it is we are growing into, what it is we are transitioning to, what it is we are building. We're asking God to destroy old foundations to build up new ones. He's tearing down the walls that we built up where we didn't allow people in at all. He's reconstructing and rebuilding who it is you are as the strong woman of God that you are. And brick by brick, episode by episode, me holding your hand or letting you know that you truly are is what we're doing. We're building. We're kingdom builders, and in every episode, we're building each other up. In every episode, we're writing down. Those notes are turning into prayers, and we're actually taking the prayers as well that are on the channel, and we're using those as weapons to build. Because as you build, you will have to fight. You will not just be able to build. You will not just be able to build in silence or build peacefully. Sometimes there are seasons where you will have to have armor on your back, in the front of you, in the side of you, covering your face, armor above your head. You will have to have armor at every angle, and God will send angels assigned to you that will have you heavily covered and protected. But you in yourself will have to protect what God is giving you as well, with what you're saying, with where you go, with who you hang out with what it is you eat, with how you dress. These are all forms of protection. These are all ways that we can utilize in building. As when you're in warfare, you can utilize as weapons when you're building. Just like in the Bible, when they built, the enemy was sent in to tear those walls down. They had to have warriors around the walls fighting as they were building up actual bricks. And that happens. And let me tell you, the bigger your platform, the bigger the crowd you were called to, the bigger you were called to travel around the world and speak and be international, your warfare will be just as big. So don't ever get it in your pretty head that you are going to build and be able to just be at perfect peace and build houses for the neighborhood and be at perfect peace and get that new car and be at perfect peace and be able to praise the Lord and yes, God, and pray and call down the heavens, and hell is not going to try to come against you. Because it's going to happen, but it makes us stronger. It builds a better character. It lets you know that when you take on being a resource, when you say yes to God, you're also saying that whenever I'm a resource, people are going to come to me and they're going to have issues. They're going to have problems. They're going to have warfare. They're going to have something that's a thorn. How am I going to be able to be a resource in that way? How am I going to be able to feed them spiritually, mentally, emotionally, sometimes financially, if you haven't gone through it yourself? So for every battle, you're becoming a new resource. For every warfare, you're building more spiritual muscles and bricks. You're building up another spiritual wall that the enemy from the last season can't get through. And so every warfare is for the next season. Wherever you are now is for the next season. It's so the enemies who are here, so the enemies who are current can't go to you with the next season, because there's a wall there. Because you stuck it out. You prayed it out. You lived it out. You replaced faith over fear. And you said, no, I'm not going there anymore. No, I won't shop there anymore. No, that business won't get my money anymore. When you start to say no because of the yes that you gave God, God starts to show up in different places that you couldn't even imagine. So you versus you is realizing why the warfare is here. It's realizing what I need to use against the warfare. It's realizing that this thing called life is about building. That this thing called life has journeys that begin and end. That some things are not a journey, it's a lifestyle. Prayer is a lifestyle, it's not a journey. Healing is a lifestyle, it's not a journey. When you get a scrape and it has to heal, that's a journey, because now it's over. Journeys end. And so the lifestyle that you chose is just that. It's not a journey. And that is why a lot of people get frustrated. They're calling it a journey, hoping that a certain portion or part of it or all of it ends, and then it doesn't, or it goes on longer because you've called it the wrong thing, because you've given it the improper title. You're titling something that is not a journey. It's your lifestyle. It's who you are. It's who you're becoming. I can't have a bowl of cereal and call it a steak. A steak is what I want. It fills me up. It tells me that I might even be on a certain status or a level because I can have that kind of steak. I can't lie to myself in front of a bowl of cereal and call it a filet or call it a T-bone, and then after I'm done eating the bowl of cereal think that I'm going to be fulfilled, or expect for everything around me to look like the level I was calling myself on. If it's a lifestyle, then it's a lifestyle. If it's a journey, then it's a journey. Call it for what it is. But when it's you versus you, learn that your verbiage has to change. You gotta call a spade a spade. If it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it sounds like one, that's exactly what it is. If that person don't bring you no peace, they get on your nerves. Every time they come around, you're like, well, can I trust them? Why am I feeling worried? Then there's a clear decision you gotta make. Stop calling them your friend. You versus you stepping into that position where I don't tolerate things anymore. What it is God has not called you to. Who he's not called you to. And when you realize that you need to put people before God, then he will start to show you who people are, and then you can make your decisions, right? Every time you come to my house, you always speaking negative. Every time I go to the store, it don't feel right. I was actually in a store, and I won't say the name of it because, for legal reasons. I was in a store, and it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. It felt like there was a presence in the store, or something that just was like weighing on my spirit. It just didn't feel right. And so I continue to shop, but not much longer. I make my way to the checkout, bring my stuff up, go home, get back, put everything away, right? Go to open up one of the boxes and it's full of bugs. Quickly got rid of that box. Quickly, cleaned up, did what I needed to do. Never saw another stitch of it again. And never went back to that store again. But we have to realize when it's us versus us, when it's you versus you, not us versus us, but you versus you, that when something don't feel right, you've grown, you've learned, you've come so far that your discernment is on 1,000. It's on fire. And when something don't feel right, it ain't right. It's not you overthinking. It's not your imagination. It's not an illusion or being double-minded. It's the fact that you are in a place where you've ascended to a level of discernment where you know that something is not right here. Something ain't right. Let me deal with it. Let me look at it. Let me give it to God. And let me break it down. And not go backwards by ignoring it. You versus you is learning that you don't ignore certain things that come up. Because now you're fighting you. Now you're going against you. Places that you've healed in. Places that you told yourself, I won't go there anymore. Places that you told yourself that I'm not going to deal with that kind of behavior no more. When you do it again, you betray yourself. When you go back into that relationship, when you spin the block, and spinning the block doesn't always mean that you're going back to the same person. It could be the same character, the same attitudes through another person, a new person. You got to realize that you are betraying yourself when you do that. You are becoming a weapon against yourself when you're supposed to be a weapon for the kingdom. You are a blood-bought weapon for the kingdom of Christ. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Speaks to outside weapons. But you can be a weapon formed against yourself, and the enemy knows that. He knows you are the weapon, you are the ammunition, you are the fire, you are the bow and the arrow. And he will target you against you if you're not aware, if you're not learning, if you're not opening up your pretty eyes, if you're not discerning, if you're not sometimes dissecting what it is that is around you. Look at all the new things in your life and peel them all back like oranges that have layers. What in my life could eliminate what I'm building? What in my life could possibly hurt or backfire against me or my family? I don't want anything in my path that looks like I was leaning out on my own understanding. I don't want anything in my path that looks like I kept God out of the equation. I don't want anything in my life that looks like I didn't pray about it first. I don't want nothing in my life that looks like she don't know what she's doing. Get rid of it, sis. Get rid of it, bro. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Don't try to make it work. Don't try to make it fit. Don't try to shove a square into a circle peg. Get rid of the square. Don't worry about what they're going to call you. Don't worry about how they're going to look at you. Don't worry about what they're going to say. They're going to say something anyway. When you do the right thing and you're going down the right path and you're a stand-up person and you show integrity and humility and your heart is postured correctly and you're walking in your calling and you're doing all that it is that you could do and then some, you're making sure this is on the table. You're making sure they got that on their back. Someone is still going to have something to say. Still going to have something to say. And they're going to talk about you like you on a pole. They're going to talk about you like they're walking a dog. They're going to talk about you like you do drugs. They're going to talk about you like you in somebody's bed sliding all over it. They're going to talk about you like you with a married man. And you're not doing none of those things. But what they say about you is none of your business. You versus you is when you realize, I don't care what they have to say about me. I don't care what it is they think. They don't walk in integrity. They don't have humility. They're not fighting the same fight I'm fighting. They ain't going in the same direction I'm going in. There is a space. It's a fine space that you gotta absolutely plug into. When you're a boss, when you're an individual who's building, when you're an individual who God has chosen you to break down walls and to be that generational curse breaker, there's a fine space that you better quickly get into that says that I don't care. Get into it. You versus you got to be in that space. Because if you don't, when you hear the voices, it's going to slow you down. When you see the pictures, it's going to slow you down. When you get those dreams and you don't know the root of the dream, it'll slow you down. There are dreams that God will show you. He wants you to know what they think they're about to do, so you can pray against it and stop it. There are dreams that you just had that God is saying, I allowed the dream to happen. I gave the dream to you so that you could stop them. I'm giving you the power, the authority to bring that to a screeching halt and that it never sees the light of day. And some of you are taking the dream the wrong way. You versus you has to realize that it was sent as armor. It was sent as a weapon. It was sent to warn you. It was sent because God deemed you worthy enough to receive the dream. He knows you want to protect what he gave you. He knows you want to protect what you're stewarding. He knows you want to protect you and your family. He knows that you're at a level where he's about to bless you and he don't want nothing to get in the way of that blessing. Take the dream to someone who interprets them. I interpret dreams. If you need me, send me a message. And no, I'm not going to charge you to interpret your dream. I'm just going to interpret it for you. Everything is not a charge. Please get that out of your head. The enemy will throw that at you left and right. He will throw that like a Uzi gun. Back to back to back to back to back fire. He will throw that at you that what you need is going to cost you. What you need, you're going to have to pay for. Oh, that coaching she's talking about, thousands of dollars. She's going to pray with you. No. Slow down. It's going to be a couple of hundred. No, it's not. If you're in a season where God is saying, bless the prophet, bless the coach, bless that business, then he will give you the provision, send the person or the place to you, and you will be able to take care of it with ease. It will not even be a thought. But if someone offers you a resource and you automatically go to a thought, it's going to be expensive, or it's going to be a lot, or it's going to cost me, then you got to question what money means to you. If it's become a god to you. If you're in a deficit, if you're in a poverty mindset, if you feel like your money means more to you than for you to even be able to move. If you rather be stuck and have a full bank account but can't go nowhere physically and can't spiritually grow, but your bank account looks okay or looks nice, then you are fighting against yourself. You're defeated in a certain area in your life. Go to God and ask Him to free you from that. There should be no place in your life where you feel like you would not pour financially into what is being a resource to you. There are many times where I will see people go to Walmart and Target and this store and that store and buy this and buy that and buy things that are good for them and buy things that are not good for them, and put money into the pockets of someone that they don't even know. They will TikTok shop it out before they will even look at their sister or look at their brother who is building and fighting and getting it out the mud and actually has a resource that came from a pure place. And you rather Walmart it out or Target it out than to sow into your brother and your sister where you're going to reap 100-fold after you do. You really have to question yourself in the you versus you. You really do. I've seen people buy things from a store and it collect dust. Buy things from a store, eat it, and then it leads to them just going to the bathroom. And that's where it stops, is the bathroom. They don't spiritually grow. They don't emotionally grow. They don't financially grow. They don't physically grow. They don't gain anything. Meanwhile, that person has your money. You've gone to the bathroom. You've wiped what they gave you and flushed it. And that is the end of your transaction with them. When you can purchase something that's going to last a lifetime, you can purchase something that's going to feed you spiritually and make you spiritually grow. So when the enemy comes against you, you actually have a defense. You actually have something that you can put up as a shield or a weapon to fight against what just hit you in your head. And the person that was trying to do this transaction with you saw what was coming at your head. That's the craziest thing about it. There are people who will not pour into someone else because of what they think about money, because of how tight they're holding on to it, because they don't see the value in the other person, but they see value in Walmart. They see the value in the Target, but you don't see the value in the person that God sent you, because the person saw what was coming at your head. They saw the fiery dart. They saw the arrow that was landed for your mind. God sent them to you. And in order for them to grow and for their business to move to another level, they deserve provision because they're giving you something that you need. No one is saying pay for prayer. That's not something you pray for. That's not what I'm saying. No one is saying pay for prophecy. You don't pay for prophecy. No one is saying pray for anything spiritual. But pour into your sister or your brother in Christ who was there for you. What table do you eat at and get up and walk away from and don't put nothing on the table? Because that person was of service to you. You're not pouring into them because people pay for prayer or they pray for prophecy. You're pouring into them because you just ate at their table and was served a divine meal. And it was tasty and it was filling. And it don't stop in the bathroom. This meal don't stop in the toilet. This meal gets you through war. This meal helps you build another brick. This meal gets you into that new home. This meal unlocks the door to marriage. This meal leads you to your next book. And your book is $1 million book. Why would you not sow into that? That person just sowed into your future. God's going to bless them. Whether you sow into them or not, God's got a blessing for them. And they know that. But the new you versus you understands reciprocity. You understand principle. You understand that I'm not tithing. I'm not sowing a seed. I'm pouring into what poured into me because I want to keep the flow of a pour. I don't want this pour to stop. I want this spout to be opened and to stay pouring. So I'm going to continue to fill it so that it continues to fill me. I want to create a well. And the only way you can create a well of prosperity, of provision, of success is to pour. And that don't mean beyond your means. That don't mean you're last. I don't believe in that at all. You ain't ever gonna hear me say that. And whoever does say that, I ain't with you. I don't believe in you giving your last and you have children, or you giving your last and your refrigerator is empty, or you giving your last and now you in the dark. I don't believe in that at all. I really don't. And I've been in that place. While I was in the shelter, they were on their way to Paris. Literally. And that's not out of bitterness. That's not out of anger. That's not out of, oh, she ain't healed from that. No, she healed from it. It was wrong. And it's something that I keep so that I don't ever go there again. It doesn't hurt. It's not a wound. It's not something, oh, we can use that. No, you can't. No, you can't. She ain't gonna let you get close enough to try it anyway. So, you'll never hear me say that. You'll hear me say, pouring creates wells. Pouring creates floods. Pouring creates waterfalls that never stop. A waterfall doesn't dry up. It pours and the water regenerates. It flows and the water comes right back in. It creates this cycle of being able to pour and be poured into. Pour and be poured into. Is a cycle that you versus you wants to create. You want to look for a coach and pour. You want to look for an assistant and pour. You want to look for someone who can do what you can't do anyway and pour. You are creating a cycle that doesn't stop. Same thing with your finances. You work, you fill up your bank account. You work some more, you fill it up again. You work some. It becomes a cycle of being able to pour and fill. That's what you do with your job. That's what you have to do in life. You versus you, the new you versus you, pours in all different areas, not just your job. Now you take your job as an example of a funnel. You take your job as an example and turn it into an equation that you can use, a formula that you can use in different parts of your life. Oh, wait a minute. I work and I make money and I put it in my account. I work and I make money and I put it over here and I put it over there and I buy groceries and now I can eat. And now it gets filled back up and filled back up and filled back up. Wait. Ding, a light just went off. Let me use that versus me in my life spiritually, in my life emotionally, in my relationships. Let me pour to continue to be poured into, to create cycles that create wells, that create waterfalls, that create mountains that can't be torn down. Now I'm really building. That's what you really call building. If you look at any millionaire, if you look at any billionaire, if you get to have a conversation with them or just watch some posts that they put up, you will absolutely, or you look into Forbes, sign yourself up to get Forbes magazine. Don't tell me that I never did you a favor. You're welcome, and just start reading it. Yeah, you'll never see or hear them not talk about reciprocity. And it's not a gig or a gag to get you to pay them. They're already set. They don't need your dollar. And you might be in the type of mindset where you ain't gonna give it anyway. So they ain't even talking to you. They already know who their audience is. The one that wants to grow. The one that wants to build. The one that's saying, I made a decision to not look at her no more. To not look at their life no more. To put down the jealousy. To pick up the tools. To put down the comparison. To put down the identity theft. Because in this season, a lot of people, in this season, the enemy is attacking a lot of your identity. He don't want you to know who you really are, or where you could really go, or that you're really building. You have a shovel and a hammer in your hand, and he's trying to get you to put those things down. Put them down. Don't hold on to what it is that's going to get you out. That shovel. Don't hold on to what's going to break this atmosphere and break this warfare. Put it down. Boss Babe's healing is putting the shovel back in your hand. It's putting the hammer back in your hand. Pick up those tools, sis, and keep on wailing. Pick up those tools, sis, and keep on building. Keep on growing. Keep on evolving. Keep on ascending. Keep on going. Don't stop. Get it. Because we are here to be a source. That's the point of life. Build until you are able to help others build. Point blank, period. It's the journey. It's the point. Nobody gets blessed to hold on to your blessings and be selfish and stingy. That's not why nobody gets blessed. You get blessed, you put a little away. You get blessed, you invest over here. You get blessed, you pour over here. You get blessed, you pour back there. Then one day you look up and you've built a mountain over there of pouring. You built a waterfall over here of putting away. You built houses back here of being consistent, a prayer, a spiritual growth of ascension. And you realize, yeah, I got it out the mud. Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it took some time. But I got a weight about me now. I weigh a certain amount. I'm in a certain weight game now. I'm a heavyweight in the spirit. So my warfare is heavy because of who's coming against me, because they realize that I'm heavy. But I built some things, and now I can help others to build. I've been in situations where I was eating oodles and noodles, and the person that said they could help was in the other room having a steak. And it was at that point that I realized what they're eating can't hurt me. What they're eating can't affect me. What they're eating will not help me to grow, fall, stumble, stand up. It has nothing to do with me. They weren't eating the steak because they were responsible and I wasn't. They weren't eating the steak because they made so much amount of money and I didn't. They were eating the steak because they were making a statement that said, I think I'm on this level and I think you're on that level. And I promised myself that I would never, ever be in a situation like that again, where I would be around a person that could make that decision for me. When you stop looking at others, when you let go of that jealousy, when you ask God to take it from you, when you stop comparing, when you realize who you are and whose you are and how much you really weigh in this earthly realm and in the spirit, no one will ever be able to eat in your face again. That's literally what they're doing. When you look online and you see somebody with the big house and a fine man and the kids and the car and the dog, they're eating a steak in front of your face while you're oodles and noodles in it. Make the decision now with you versus you. And I'm ending it here. No one will ever be able to play in my face, eat in my face, or make a decision for me as to where I am, but God and myself. And so you versus you ultimately is building so you can help others build, creating so you're in a lane of your own and you're not at the mercy of anyone else, and realizing that you have to pour to be poured into, and you have to pour to create wells that never stop. I thank you for joining me again. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm praying for you. Whoever's subscribing, whoever's leaving a message, whoever is in need, who's DMing me, who's sending me an email, I'm praying for you. I have to have acknowledgement of you in order for that prayer to happen. So leave a message down below. Leave something in the comments. You can DM me. You can meet me on my socials. That's fine. You can DM me on my socials, my Instagram, Boss Babes Healing, my TikToks, New Oils Bookstore, and New Oil Publishing. You can email me at newoilenterprise, the number 7 @gmail.com. If you need anything, if there's a bill that you're struggling with, please message me. If there's a relationship that you're trying to get out of, please message me. If there's something that you just can't face anymore, please message me. I might not be your resource, but I will find you one. And then again, I might in fact be your source, your resource through God. Either way, I love you. I'll see you next week. I'm praying for you. I wish you all the best. Thank you. See you.